Awesome. So yeah, as Eva and Morgana were saying, I'm Valeria, and I'm currently a design manager at LinkedIn. I've been at LinkedIn for 4 years, celebrating my 4 years this week. So that's definitely a nice milestone. I'm very happy to be here today to talk about collaboration, and really, I hope we can have a nice, share out at the end. And I really want to learn from your experience and kind of, see what we can exchange in terms of like good practices here. Let me see. Okay. So yeah, as we were saying, I've lived and worked in different countries. So just my life in 4 pictures. I'm from Italy. Torino is my town. I studied design there, and I took my PhD across Italy and Sweden. Then I moved to Dublin, Ireland, working as a design lecturer in a design college, and then I moved to California in 2015. First working in IBM in the analytics design team, and then at LinkedIn. I've been at LinkedIn in few different teams, and I've learned all over, over these years, a little bit about collaboration and how to collaborate in big teams. So design new collaboration models. Essentially, what I want to talk about is how effective collaboration can bring higher productivity to the team. And then thanks to effective collaboration, we can actually enhance the quality of a product and also lead to design solution at scale. So the 2 questions that I hope we will be able to uncover over these next 20 minutes are: how can designers strike the right balance between speed to market and product quality? And then the other one would be: how can a platform be flexible enough so that we can support the launch of new features? So let's dive into the content of today. I'm going to start talking about the 3 Ps. Then I'm going to introduce you a little bit about what I mean with 0 to 1 products and my experience working on those type of products. We're going to touch on what's the relationship between a platform and a feature, looking into the collaboration models that we've been experimenting. I'm going to bring it home with a case study, so hopefully everybody can kind of see, relationship with what everyone is doing in their own daily activity, and then some takeaway, and maybe a coffee to bring home. Cool. So really, before we start, I wanted to kind of remind ourselves that the success of a business grounds on 3 main pillars. We have people, which are really the foundation of any successful business. And then processes are really important and crucial because people need to work in the most efficient and productive manner so that they are actually in the right, mental state and like space to really focus on delivering quality products. So really, these are the 3 ingredients. And for today, I want to focus a little bit more on the processes side. So processes don't really need to be complex. And when I say I want to focus on processes, I want to highlight how if we make them more effective, we can actually be able to create the right environment for a better collaboration, be more productive, and eventually also allow solutions that will scale and will end up benefit the entire business and not only the area of the business that we were perhaps starting with when we started this design challenge. So this work on collaboration and processes started because of my heavy involvement on what we call 0 to 1 products. So a 0 to 1 product is a type of product that is pretty unique in the challenge that they present. The reason why is that it's pretty much a product that starts from scratch. So there is nothing like that product before. And really the goal is to create user value for people at scale. But the challenge here is that there is not much that we can refer to when we start building those type of products. And in my experience, there are 2 main challenges that designers face when they work on this type of 0 to 1 products. The first one is how can designers strike the right balance of speed to market and product quality? So a 0 to 1 product is always balancing this need of velocity, but at the same time, make sure that we produce very high quality work. Keep in mind, these are products that didn't exist before, right? So there is really a need to prove what we call product market fit. There is a need to make sure that the market is actually reacting positively to the products that we ship. And we want to prove that as fast as possible so that, you know, we avoid working endlessly in a product that might not really be useful for our users, right? Of course, like we start with our user research and we know what we are doing, but you never know until you actually put the product in the hands of our users. At the same time, though, we really want to make sure that we keep the bar of the quality of what we ship and what we design very high. So there is always this tension that designers specifically and the overall team needs to face. The next challenge, I think it's around flexibility. So especially for 0 to 1 products that are features that are built on top of existing core products. So think about you know, adding an extra feature or an extra capability on top of an existing core products. This is a question we face all the time, right? How can a platform be flexible enough so that it can support the launch of these new features? And with these two big challenges in mind, I want to move on into showing you a little bit of what we mean with 0 to 1 products, right? These are like a couple of examples that are coming from LinkedIn, most recently things that we have shipped. So on the left, you see what we call cover story. There is a way for you to now add a short video to your profile and really showcase who you are on the community. And then on the right, you have what we are working on around skill path and making sure that we push for a skill first type of hiring. So people will be hired based on the skills that they own, on the qualities they own, rather than what we call the pedigree, right? Rather than only look like where did you study and where did you work before. So these are like examples of products that didn't necessarily exist before, but are actually bringing a great value to the LinkedIn community. And focusing a little bit more on what I do every day at LinkedIn, I work on the LinkedIn Talent Solutions. The example that I showed you before are coming from this team specifically. And really the mission that we have is be the best at matching job seekers with opportunities. So think about finding this perfect cherry that fit nicely on a really delicious cake. So we are trying to make sure that we really create this environment where job seekers and job posters can find the perfect match. And the challenge that we face every day is around the fact that we work on what we call double-side marketplace. The reason behind this name or this way of saying is that we help both job seekers, so people that are actually looking for jobs, and job posters, people that post jobs on LinkedIn. And they have needs that we want to meet and help them with, right? We want to help job seekers improve their candidacy, apply, and also become a hire. And then on the other hand, we want to make sure that job posters find a quality candidate in a fast way. So as you can imagine, there are a lot of moving parts oh, sorry. Can you still see the screen? Okay. I think he's back.
Yeah.
Yes, nice. So sorry about that. So there are a lot of moving pieces to make this happen, and a lot of teams that need to collaborate to make sure that we properly support the needs of our users across LinkedIn. And to kind of clarify what I mean with that, I found this image to be pretty insightful. So when we design a product or a feature at LinkedIn, there is, and probably everywhere, right? As a designer, there is always this delicate balance that needs to be kept in order to really be successful. So I'm thinking about LinkedIn as the foundation, right? Like LinkedIn provides us with strong foundation, for example, our design system, which I know IBM also has a very strong one, and I'm pretty sure everyone and every company does have one. And this allows us to really ensure consistency across all the products. And then we have that so that our users feel like everything across our platform is actually designed and built by the same team. But of course, like that's not possible, right? But that's the feeling we want to give to our users when they use anything at LinkedIn. And then on top of that, we have the platform team, like that kind of creates what I would call core products, right? So in the environment of working for our hires and job seekers, think about like the main product that hiring people would use. Like we call it recruiter, but it's literally like the core product that everyone that has this specific need would know and would use. And then on the very top of that, there are all the features, right? All the capabilities and things that we keep adding or refining to make sure that really the experience we build for our users is as optimal as possible. So to kind of simplify, I would say that we can think about having one platform team and having many features teams that work with these platform teams. And to simplify even further, think about my team as one of these feature teams that worked on with the platform team. The platform team is really responsible to, as we said, build a core product and provide a framework that will need to address the needs of all these frameworks, of all these features team that are going to build on top of it. Those foundation and those frameworks are specific enough, but also needs to accommodate the different needs that might come up because they might not have thought about some needs when they initially built the platform, but then with new products coming on board, we will need to reconsider some of those guidelines. And really, we can only be successful if the platform team and the feature teams collaborate very closely together. And this is pretty much what this presentation is about. So to give you an idea of how many people are involved for any given 0 to 1 product, I have experience working with at least 5 teams because we build in different platforms, because we have different teams that own different portion of the platform itself. So I would say there are at least 5 teams that are involved in any feature team, any feature building product. And then that actually brings us to a lot of different checkpoints, because if we think about like how every team cooperates and work, right, they have, I would say, at least like 10 review checkpoints that they put in place every time they start working on a new feature. And if the same team needs to collaborate with 5 other teams, that means like a lot of checkpoints and a lot of feedback that come on our way. And really, like, that's the challenge that we were facing at some point, right? So really the opportunities that I want to highlight here are the fact that as a feature team, at some point we were finding ourselves working on endless cycles of reviews and really a lot of feedback coming our way. How can we really understand what's the must-have type of feedback versus like that's a suggestion and take it with a grain of salt, or like I would like you to think about those suggestions, right? So, and keep in mind, we are also working on this pressure of like, but we also need to deliver. We also need to make sure that what we are doing is actually helpful enough. And then another opportunities that I have identified is the lack of alignment, right? When there are so many people involved, you start working on something and maybe it happens that at some point you realize that actually not everyone was aligned on what was even the goal. And did we agree on the problem statement? Did we have the same goal in mind? So in order to help pass some of these opportunities, I start thinking a little bit more about what can we do to really improve this collaboration. And really collaboration is key to make sure that we design products that bring user value, meets our business goals, and excel in execution. And if that doesn't happen, then there is a risk, right? There is a risk of perhaps having a massive value coming from the core features and the main product, but really limit the user value that could come from new features. So that's a risk for our users. there is a risk on the business side, like there is a risk of inefficiency costs, right? If there are excessive churns, then there will be a risk of limiting the innovation, and also like spend a lot of cycles working on perhaps the same thing and not really making enough progress. And then a risk in execution, where the new features may actually feel like an add-on rather than fully built in and fully integrated with the core flow. So if we don't properly collaborate, we can hurt quality, and users won't get as much value from the feature as from the core, and this is really not what we want to do. So when we actually found ourselves in a similar situation, we decided to take a step back and to reflect a little bit more and really ask ourselves, and with ourselves, I mean, again, like the features team and the platform teams, what can we do to help each other, right? What are our mutual values that can actually be leveraged to build effective principle of collaboration? I wish we had this nice background when we had this conversation, but anyway, with Zoom, you can put any background you want nowadays. So yeah, so we started thinking about our vision, right? What do we want to do? We wanted to collaborate on creating this flexible framework so that the feature team and the platform team could iterate faster, and at the same time, we would be able to increase the value coming from the new features. So this was really our vision, and we tried to have a solution for like how could that happen. And this collaboration led us to these 3 different models of collaboration. I like to place those models of collaboration on 2 axes. So on the one side, we have how much involvement is required from the platform team. Is it a minimum involvement? Is it something that will require a lot of time from their end? And on the other axis, we'll have how many feature teams are actually asking for a platform change, right? Is it something that would benefit only one team and maybe one specific design detail, or is it something that will benefit on a long run many other teams, and hopefully also the platform team itself? So as you can see here, we start from what we call consulting model, which is minimum effort required from the platform team. Pretty much all the work will be done by the feature team. And the platform team will need to kind of give feedback, right? Make sure that we are on track, make sure that we follow the guidelines, and we don't go off rails. Then we'll move on into what I define here as a joint effort. This is really like probably the ideal spot, like feature team and platform teams are both hands-on designing on the feature. And that's when the great idea comes, I feel. The next level would be a framework change. If from this collaboration and conversation on the joint effort type of collaboration, we end up actually highlighting possibilities that could benefit the entire platform, then I think we would move into a more framework consideration. And in that type of model, we will have the platform team owning the design, because at that point, this is something that will touch multiple surfaces of the framework itself, and then the feature team will act as a consultant on their use case. So a little bit of information here, but hopefully with the use case that I'm going to present, it will also kind of make more sense on a practical way. How do we decide which is the right type of collaboration? We came up with a decisional tree, and the big questions that we ask ourselves when we start a project are whether or not there is alignment on the value of the new feature. That's really important. I found out that asking this question very early in the process is key for success. If there is alignment on the feature specs as well, right? Okay, we agree that this is important, we want to do this, but we have alignment on what actually that means, right? So specs, and every team and every company does that differently, but think about like really the use cases, the definition of what we want to do, how we're going to get there, and also timing, right? And then lastly, do we have clear POCs, right? Point of contact. Do we know who we need to talk to if we have questions, right? And ideally, we would like to identify very few of these point of contact in the different teams so that this communication and these design reviews that I was mentioning before are going to be very pointed, and we will know how to categorize the feedback that we receive and how to prioritize them. So with this in mind, I'm going to move on into a case study. Again, if you have any question, just feel free to stop, and you can also stop me, and you can also look at the questions at the end. So the case study that I'm going to present you today is something we call video intro. So video intro is a product or a feature that helps job posters evaluate soft skills prior to the phone screen interview. And with soft skills, I mean anything that is related to communication. Actually, communication is the top requested skill in pretty much any job detail and job description. So this was something really important for us to start exploring. And then on the other end, we, with video intro, we are helping job seekers standing out and improve their odds of getting an interview. With the idea of like job seekers applying for jobs that are very heavy on the communicational side, if we give them the opportunity of show their skills very early in the process, we were hoping to actually increase the number of job seekers and candidates that would have been contacted from the job poster. So a quick video to show you how that works on the job poster side. So they can set up to 2 questions that are coming from a database. And those are like soft skills based questions. And once they have this set up, then they can select which candidates they want to invite. So keep in mind, those are candidates that have already applied. So they have expressed interest in the job, and they hope they could progress on their job process with this specific company. On the other end, we have what happened to the job seekers. So we have a job seeker, a candidate, they just applied for a job, and now they are getting these requests of submitting their answer up to those two questions. And the way they can do that is either writing a response, or the preferred method from the job posters, which is creating a short video. They have up to 2 minutes to create this video, that would highlight their skills. And really, they have endless attempt that they can have. So we launched our MVP, and we start gathering feedback, and we did a user research, and also the data came back, and pretty much what we discovered is that both job posters and job seekers were asking for more personable interaction. They wanted this to be more human, and on the job seeker side, on the applicant side, they were asking us they were telling us, we want to feel special. We want to feel like we have been chosen by the job posters, and they're asking us to take these questions. Otherwise, I would not invest time on engaging in these products. Like, that's time consuming. If I don't feel I'm special, I'm not gonna do it, right? If I feel this is just a mechanical request, I'm not gonna engage with this. And then on the job poster side, they wanted the ability to personalize their message, especially if they were what we call small, medium businesses. So working on companies that might not be as popular as the big tech companies or like big firms. They wanted to make sure that they had room to explain to the candidates why they would need to apply for, why they would like for them to apply for their job. So we started from what it was, let's call it feature problem, right? This need of personalization. But the story tells you how we ended up creating a solution that would actually end up benefiting the entire platform. So with that in mind, I'm going to show you the before and after. This is the before and then the mid step, right? So the first thing, when we launched our MVP, we were leveraging regular email. to reach out to the candidates, to tell them that they were selected for a video intro, and that they had to, engage with the product to move on into their application. Now, we actually registered a very low response rate, and also if we looked at how many videos were submitted versus how many texts were submitted, the texts were much more than the videos. And we assumed that the reason was exactly what I was telling you before, which is candidates didn't feel like they were chosen, and they wanted to feel special. So they choose the fastest way to answer to those questions, which was a written text. So we decided to move on from an email to an email. An email is an internal messaging tool that we have at LinkedIn. And really with that, we had some challenges. Like the email was actually coming with a footer, and the footer wasn't ideal for our experience. The email was originally intended for reaching out for the first time to the candidates. And that's why the footer is saying something like, would you like to learn more about this opportunity? Really didn't make sense on the context of what we wanted to achieve, but we decided to test with a small number of users anyway to see if the engagement went up. The reason why we decided to progress anyway was that the cost of taking out that footer was actually pretty high, both on engineering and design side. And we wanted to make sure that we were on the right path before investing further. So when the results came back, we were actually very happy to see that the metrics improved. We had way more response rate, and we had way more videos coming our way. So I want to show you what the implication on the job poster side, right? This is what a recruiter would see. They would receive a candidate, and then they would want to select the candidate and ask for a video intro. And then the email experience would pop up, right? It's like a right rail that comes on the screen. There were some challenges with this original email. The challenges was that actually it wasn't fully integrated with the full capabilities. It wasn't personalized. There was no way that the job posters could actually edit the message or even add the name of the person that they were contacted. So we definitely agreed, both the platform team and the features team, that that was something we wanted to improve. So we started with our decisional tree, and looking at this decisional tree, we realized that yes, there was product alignment on the feature integration. So we really wanted to make this happen. The platform team was in agreement of this need of making this experience more personalized. So that was a good moment of discovery and realization. But we also figure out that the team was also resourced and could help us on giving us more support. So we were able to start with this model of joint effort, like both teams hands-on on the same product, and we ended up creating some framework change. So this was really a turning point for us. We found out that we could leverage the platform strength. We could meet our goals of creating a more personalized experience, and we could also aim to scale this design solution that hopefully the framework team would use in the future for our use case. So this is really what we came up with. On the left side, you see this is an in-progress design, but everything is editable. The content itself is much more personalized. There was a long work that we did with our content design team. And the job poster can add the link for the job seekers to apply to this video intro product. But everything can easily be scaled in a much bigger way, right? So on the right, you see what's the future ideal state. We will have a way where a job poster could invite a job seeker to many other things, not only to video intro. They could perhaps invite them to schedule a phone screen, or maybe even apply for different jobs. So we actually together thought about how could we scale the need of improving the video intro product into something much bigger for the audience. And this is what you would see now if you had to receive a video intro request. There is a much more personalized message. There is a full email integration, and the user experience is ideal. You see, there is no footer anymore. So really an happy story. The engagement went up. The ratio between video submitted and text was, more on the video side than on the text side. So everything worked really, really well. And to go back to our original 3 points of quality work, we were able to design a product that brought user value, met the business needs, and excel in execution. So we were actually bringing massive value from the core features, but also from the new features. We were able to really allow experimentation, but at the same time maintain a great user experience for the core features. And that improved efficiency in team collaboration. And then lastly, we were able to create something that felt like really part of the main core flow. So no add-on anymore. Our next step on these are socialize and test this model of collaboration, and also make sure that we start the discussion of collaboration in early planning, right? We have quarterly planning. Every company might have different timing on planning, but really the point is, let's start talking about which type of collaboration are we asking each other to provide very early in the process. So the last point is, what are we bringing home, right? So the takeaways from this presentation are that process is really key for success. So it's really important to think about that in this way. It's important to plan for early collaboration. We talk about different models of collaboration. Specifically, I have highlighted 3 different types of collaboration. We talk about how collaboration leads to scalable solutions. And finally, we show how we can bring positive impact on the users, the business, and the overall execution if we plan properly how to work with each other. So with that, I'm going to end the presentation. Really, thank you for your time. And yeah, let's open it up for Q&A.